Hello and welcome. I'm Melinda Akinlami. Tonight, EFCC moves against the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Danladi Umar, for a count charge bordering on bribery against him in the FCT High Court. Supreme Court steps up effort at speeding up the dispensation of justice to phase out manual serving of court processes by July. Inspector General of Police appears before Senate committee to update the lawmakers on the security situation in Benue State as residents continue to flee the troubled communities in the state. And a fresh plot to unseat South African President Jacob Zuma thickens as he faces a no-confidence vote this month.
On Business News tonight, Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission seeks collaboration with government to actualize investment promises by Nigeria's foreign partners.
Nigeria's Flamingos are ready to square up against Cameroon at the Samuel Ogbamudia Stadium in Benin City tomorrow in the final round of qualifiers for the Under-17 Women's World Cup.
And from Abuja, another batch of 465 Nigerians returned from Libya, making it about 2,000 returnees brought back through the Port Harcourt airport.
We begin tonight with legal matters. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has filed a 2-count bribery charge against the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, CCT, Mr. Danladi Umar. The charges were filed today on behalf of the Commission by a senior advocate of Nigeria, Festus Keyamo, at the High Court in Abuja. In the first count, Danladi Umar, being the CCT chairman, allegedly asked for 10 million naira from one Mr. Rashid Taiwo in 2012 in order to do Mr. Taiwo a favor in the charge pending against him. In the second count, the CCT chairman is being charged with receiving 1.8 million naira from Mr. Taiwo. The money was allegedly paid through Mr. Umar's personal assistant, Gambo Abdullahi. The case is yet to be assigned to a judge for hearing. If found guilty, the offense carried a 7-year jail term with no option of fine. Mr. Umar was in the center of the drama during a CCT hearing in the trial of the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, when one of Senator Saraki's lawyers filed a motion to disqualify Mr. Umar from the trial. The motion was based on the allegation that Mr. Umar had allegedly obtained a bribe from Mr. Rashid Taiwo, who was a retired customs official. However, Mr. Umar went on to preside over the Senate President's case. And still on legal matters, from July the 16th, the Supreme Court will phase out manual forms of serving court processes in all the cases before it and instead serve processes by electronic means on all its matters. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onogen, dropped the hint in Abuja at a formal presentation at the Supreme Court. Our correspondent Amaka Okafor tells us more.
Thank you very much.
A demonstration of the new legal email system to be adopted by all courts in Nigeria in a move to digitalize the justice sector.
Whatever technology that is available now.
The system, according to the Chief Justice, has become imperative to speed up justice delivery. He adds that with the introduction of the system, all processes must be filed digitally at the Supreme Court, while other courts will follow soon.
Manual forms of communication within the Nigerian courts will soon be phased out. Henceforth, lawyers who have acquired the legal email can now communicate electronically with the courts and with each other. However, by 16 July 2018, it becomes mandatory. The Supreme Court will only serve processes by electronic means, that is, legal mail, on all matters. Hence, all new filing as from 16 July 2018 must bear counsel's legal email address. All courts are also encouraged to start using the email for serving lawyers. In addition, communication between the various judicial bodies will soon be through the official email system only, thereby harnessing the benefits of the system in terms of confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
For the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mr. Abubakar Mahmood, the policy is overdue and critical to moving the justice sector forward.
The email system will undoubtedly ease communication between the court and the bar, will reduce paperwork and speed up the court process, and thereby improve the administration of justice. It is a major step in the attainment of the objectives set out in the Judicial Information Technology Policy of the Nigerian judiciary launched in July 2012, with broad mission of fully integrating ICT into our court system.
The system is operational at the Supreme Court and will become operational in other courts in the near future. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.
Let's get some more perspective on the effort by the judiciary in using information technology to drive court processes. And I'm now being joined live from our Abuja studios by a former Director General of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, Professor Epifani Azenge. You're welcome to the News at 10.
Thank you very much.
Now, could you give us some insight on the significance of this announcement by the CJN by doing away with manual forms of serving court processes?
Well, I consider it a very far-reaching decision and a welcome one for that matter. It is one that we've been craving for a very long time, and thank God we are here now. For me, it is a new era for justice delivery in this country, and it is one that is very timely at this point in time. And credit to the Chief Justice of Nigeria and his team, and indeed all those who work tirelessly to make sure that they achieve this at this point in time. I believe that this should be the first in the whole of Africa. Yes, all over the world, in the United States of America, Canada, South Africa, South Korea, amongst other places, I don't think we have seen anything of this magnitude. So coming to Nigeria at this time is one that we must commend the powers that be, especially the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Now, going further, we must say that it will ease a lot, as we have seen. The paper aspect of it will disappear. We will now do everything electronically. And for me, it is an integration that will trickle down from the Supreme Court to the Court of Appeal and to the High Court. I know that in the fullness of time, the whole court system in the country will become integrated. And it will even go beyond the court system because it will make it easier even for us to move further to the Ministry of Justice, as the case may be, particularly the DPP's office, and to a very large extent, the prison system. Now, if we have a completely integrated...
If I may come in, Professor Azinga, I was just about to come there, the decongesting the prisons and speeding up the dispensation of justice. So why has it taken this long to automate the system?
Well, I must say that moving from analog to digital is not something that is commonplace, as the case may be. We have not caught up with that aspect of our developmental process as far as the judiciary and indeed the whole legal system is concerned. Maybe we started a bit late, but the important thing is that we're here now. So to a very large extent, the issue of speedy dispensation of justice is one that we must come to terms with, and with this, I believe that we will get there. And again, it will help in so many ways because we must also appreciate that with this comes the verbatim reporting that has also been missing. And instead of the judges writing in longhand, we will now see a situation where most of these things will be transcribed. It makes things easier. It makes dispensation of justice speedier. And the cliche that justice delayed, justice denied, obviously will start evaporating. For the prison system, I believe that it will be the same thing. If we can fast-track most of the issues in terms of case management, amongst others, you'll find that we may not have so many detainees in prison as the case may be, and even those awaiting trial will reduce to a very large extent, and that will help us to decongest our prisons. So I believe that this is a new era for the judiciary and for the judicial process, and it is one that we must all be proud of as
Now,
Nigerians.
Professor Azinge, the CJN has said that with time, all the courts will be on the same page by adopting this system. Now, knowing the time it has taken for this electronic system to come to place, how feasible, how quickly will it be for all these courts to key in and be on this portal?
Well, I believe that the bottom line, the most fundamental thing is funding. The process requires a lot of funding to a very large extent, and if the federal government, starting with the Supreme Court, can do this, and it trickles down to the Court of Appeal and possibly to all the federal high courts amongst others, well, that we know is the responsibility of the federal government. But at the state level, we must plead and urge that state government should rise up to the occasion and make funds available for this purpose. I know that the judiciary is the third arm of government, and most instances would say that is the least arm of government. Instead, that it controls neither the purse or the sword, as we used to say. But this time around, we need the cooperation of state governments and the governors in particular to make sure that this money is made available and timelessly, so that the state governments and the state judiciary will meet up with the expectation and, of course, be in tandem with what is operating at the federal level as far as the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal, amongst others, are concerned.
Professor Epifani Azinge, thank you so much for speaking with us on the News at 10. To security matters now, the humanitarian crisis arising from the New Year's Day attacks in Benue State has sent over 90,000 people fleeing from their homes due to a lack of security presence. Channels Television visited some of the displaced communities, which can best be described as ghost towns. After Governor Samuel Ortom opened another IDP camp in Makadi to cater for the displaced persons from Nasarawa State, people are still living in have an uneasy calm in those communities. But the Commissioner of Police in Benue State, Fatai Owushini, says the huge IDP crisis is not due to lack of police protection, but the fear of the unknown.
A pathetic situation here in Se Akenyi and Tokula villages, the two communities lying between Bajimba and Daudu districts of Guma local councils have become deserted. Even the few members of the communities left are seen moving their belongings with the intention of relocating to the Daudu IDP camp, where over 10,000 displaced persons are now taking refuge. Governor Samuel Ortom arrives at the Agan Tollgate IDP camp, recently opened to accommodate those fleeing from Kakako in Nasarawa and Yelweta in Benue State. IDPs from Tokula count their losses, including dead relatives.
I lost 3 persons in my family, 3 brothers in my family. I lost the whole of my rice farm, my soybeans farm, my guinea corn. We didn't carry anything.
Governor Samuel Ortom again pleads with the federal government and the international community to come to their aid and protect them from the herdsmen.
This matter is a security matter, and security matters are the prerogative of the federal government to come in and solve them. They have the coercive powers, and we don't have them at the state. And it's the duty of the federal government to ensure that laws of the land are respected and obeyed.
While the State Emergency Management Agency gives an update on the humanitarian crisis.
We have been calling on other humanitarian actors to come and intervene. Unfortunately, not much has been done.
The police thinks the humanitarian situation is not tied to the imminent and present danger.
We had to move the mobile units towards the border where the criminals were using to make an incursion to Benue State, and the units had been effective repelling.
At the Agan Tollgate and Daudu IDP camps, displaced families struggle for their daily bread, cooking in the open space. The condition is the same at the Bajimba IDP camp, where children of school age have had their education interrupted. As the search for a solution to the herdsmen and farmers crisis continues, relevant authorities may have to intensify efforts to ensure that the hardship faced by these internally displaced persons at the moment is reduced to the barest minimum.
In part two, after the break, 26 repentant Boko Haram members surrender arms to the army, undergo the radicalization process. Please stay with us.